seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, guys? It's Clutch here and Essam here, back in another video. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Houston Texans. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of explaining how and why the Houston Texans should really take advantage of CJ Stroud's rookie contract. And when you look at NFL teams, for example, I'll give you one, the Los Angeles Chargers. They're trying to do their best right now to build a great team full of stars, full of talent, no matter the age, around Justin Herbert before he gets that massive extension. And he's probably going to be getting like a top 3 quarterback contract. He's probably going to be the highest paid quarterback when it comes time for his contract to be out. That's just how things go nowadays in the quarterback market. Every quarterback that wants to get paid, they want to be the highest, and it's going to keep going like that and going like that. And Justin Herbert, I mean, by all means, he pretty much deserves it. He's a top 5, I feel like. Yeah, I would feel comfortable saying he's a top 5 quarterback right now. But the way they're building around him, the way they're adding talent, pieces, no matter the age, hence a trade for Khalil Mack, just signing big-name players, J.C. Jackson, and stuff like that. I feel like the Houston Texans should do something similar for CJ Stroud in the coming seasons, especially next offseason. Next offseason, there's going to be a lot of talented players hitting the market. There's going to be, it always happens every season or every offseason. There's going to be disgruntled players that at least kind of explore trade options that say, hey, I want to be traded, or request a trade or something like that. There's always players like that at the end of every offseason and at the end of every year. So the Houston Texans should really, really be keeping an eye on that type of market. For example, there's going to be a lot of players next free agency where teams aren't really picking up their fifth-year options. Now, there's a couple of pretty good players and there's a couple of pretty players, but a lot of these players that teams aren't picking up their fifth-year options, I feel like most of them would at least make a pretty big impact for the Houston Texans. For example, the Commanders, they're not expected to pick up Chase Young's fifth-year option, which leaves him to become a free agent. And if I was Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans, I would be right on his line. I was trying to find the report prior to making this video. I think it was a PFF or something like that. I'm not really too sure, but somebody was saying that Houston could potentially have interest in Chase Young, and it's not really surprising to me. But to have a Chase Young and Will Anderson pass rush duo, that's heaven on earth for a lot of defensive-minded fans, I guess. Like a lot of defensive-minded fans who wanted Will Anderson, and then why not have Will Anderson and Chase Young rushing the passer? Chase Young on one side, Will Anderson on the other, is going to create havoc for any left tackle and right tackle, for any offensive coordinator, for any quarterback in that sense. And I don't think he would cost too much. He hasn't had the best start of his career, although he has been pretty good when healthy. Maybe he would demand like a $10 million a year type of contract, something like that. Maybe like a 1-year, $12 million deal, just like a prove-it deal. And then if he ends up being good, then lock him up for long term. But he's one option. Patrick Queen, he's not, I guess, the best of options at middle linebacker, or inside linebacker at least. But he could come into Houston. He has chemistry with Derek Stingley. Not that it means anything, but they'd have a good friendship right off the bat. But to add an inside linebacker like Patrick Queen to this defense, where their inside linebackers for the most part are pretty older, or just linebackers in general. I mean, we have Christian Kirksey on the roster, Corey Littleton on the roster, Denzel Perryman on the roster. All of those guys are over 30 or 30. So, I mean, adding a younger guy, I think Patrick Queen is like, 24, 25-ish. So, adding him, I think that would be pretty good. The Cardinals are also not expected to pick up Isaiah Simmons' fifth-year contract. So, I mean, that could be another option. A hybrid, a safety / linebacker hybrid. He can come into this defense and possibly be D'Amico Ryans' Fred Warner. Obviously, he's not. I wouldn't even say he's not as talented as Fred Warner, because Isaiah Simmons coming into the league, he had a ton of potential. It's just a matter of if he can hit that potential, if he can untap that hidden potential that everybody knows he has. He just hasn't been able to unlock it with Arizona for some reason. They've tried using him at safety. They've tried using him at linebacker, and I'm not sure what's going on with him, but he was projected to be one of the best defensive players in general in the league at some point when he came into the NFL. I believe he was a number 8 draft pick a few years ago, so kind of surprising he hasn't panned out. But there's a lot of guys like that. Jordan Brooks from the Seahawks, another example, another linebacker that D'Amico Ryans could possibly say, hey, let's go out and get that. And a lot of these guys, they are on the defensive side of the football. But to build a championship winning team, I feel like you need to build up the defense while you already have your quarterback. So building an elite defense with a okay offense but a great quarterback, I feel like that's one of the ways to go. And I feel like that's one way Houston could possibly go, especially heading into next free agency, where we're going to be expected to have, I believe, over $100 million in cap space. So we'll have the cap space to go out and sign pretty much any guy we want. Any guy we want, we're probably going to be able to get. It's just, due to the contract, due to the money, financial state of it. If these guys want to win, I'm not really sure if Houston's the place to go right away. But I feel like Houston, financially wise, they'll be able to go out and sign anybody they want. But yeah, I think the defensive side of the football is one side where the Houston Texans should go to build their team around CJ Stroud. Offensively, I don't personally see too many holes. We kind of improved our center position, adding Juice and then adding Patterson. Left tackle, Larry Matonso. Left guard, Kenyon Green, who we hope can develop into being at least a sustainable left guard for our team. Right guard, Shaq Mason. He is kind of up there in age, 29, 30. At least he'll have like another 2 or 3 seasons in him, so we don't have to worry about nothing in the near future. Right tackle, Titus Howard. He should be our starting right tackle for the future if we are able to lock him down under contract. I'm not sure what type of contract he would want. But if there is one position where I would want to improve on offense for CJ Stroud and the Texans is wide receiver. Now, we have a lot of wide receiver talent. We have a lot of wide receiver depth. We just don't have that true number one alpha wide receiver like a lot of teams do. Like, for example, Justin Herbert, he has Keenan Allen, who yeah, he is up there in age, but he is his go-to number one guy in situations when he needs him. Patrick Mahomes when he came into the league, Travis Kelce. Deshaun Watson when he came into the league, DeAndre Hopkins. A lot of these guys, when they come into the league, they have their guys, their go-to options. And CJ Stroud, he doesn't necessarily have that as of right now. Maybe Nico Collins can maybe transition to that. Maybe Tank Dell can kind of be that from the slot. But he just doesn't have his true number one guy right now. And over the next couple of years, I think one thing I would try to do is add a number one receiver, or at least add a number one receiver that CJ Stroud is comfortable with. And again, maybe that ends up being Tank Dell because he did want him on the Texans prior to him being drafted by us. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things Houston can do to build around CJ Stroud and take advantage of his rookie contract before they do have to pay him in maybe like 4 seasons, 4 years. Yes, that's a long time. That's a long way to go, and it's hoping that CJ Stroud can become an elite quarterback. But Houston, they can do a plethora of things to add talent on this team via trade, free agency, and I think that's the way to go. My number one option right now, not heading into free agency because we're still a whole year away, but looking forward into next year's free agency, I think my number one option would be Chase Young. A Will Anderson and Chase Young pass rushing duo. That's kind of my dream right now. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the video. I was just pretty much talking about different options Houston could take to add talent onto this team and to build around CJ Stroud, build a elite team around CJ Stroud, kind of like the Chargers are doing with Justin Herbert. I think that's my best example for how teams are building around their young quarterback. I feel like that's a great example. Added J.C. Jackson, added Khalil Mack, kept Joey Bosa around, added I forgot the D tackle's name, but they added a pretty good D tackle. But yeah, they're just adding talent on that team in general, and I feel like that's the way to go. But yeah, it's been Clutch City Entertainment, and I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.